Oh geez, I'm so bored being stuck inside. I wish we could be at summer camp.
At least we can still make Zoe cakes.
You're right, with that fire and these pie irons, we can make Zoe cakes just like we're at camp.
What are you guys doing?
We're making Zoe Cakes.
But that's not real fire.
Well, Zoe said never doubt a Girl Scout, so I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Did somebody say Zoe?
Zoe from camp is in my living room.
Why so glum, girls?
We wanted to make Zoe cakes, but we don't have a real fire.
Well, it's your lucky day because I'm here and all we have to do is travel to my kitchen.
Where did they go?
All right, well, here we are in my kitchen. So luckily we all live together. So you guys being in my kitchen is okay because of course we're not going to go to a friend's house right now to do this. So good thing our trip to our kitchen was not very far. All right, so if you are wondering what a Zoe cake is, you're not alone because I get asked that question a lot. So a Zoe cake is sort of a perfect thing to bake right now because it's all about using what you have on hand. And I know right now a lot of us aren't going to grocery stores and we might not be able to go get the supplies that we need. So Zoe cakes are a perfect thing to make because it uses what you have around the house. So the Zoe cake was invented way back a long time ago in like 1998. Super long ago. We were having a cookout and we had pie iron pizzas for dinner and I forget what we were supposed to have for dessert, but whatever it was, they didn't have the things that we needed. So the kitchen instead, there had been a late delivery and they said, I don't know, here's what we have. So we took some random supplies and I thought, all right, well, I don't know, we'll figure something out. So normally you would make a Zoe cake in a pie iron, and if you're making them without a pie iron, it's never going to be as good. But since Zoe cakes are all about improvising, I'm going to show you how to do it in your kitchen because we can't use a pie iron. So I was making this dessert with my campers and they kept saying, what's for dessert? What's for dessert? And I didn't really know because we were kind of just winging it and doing it as we went. So eventually we said, okay, well, we're having cakes. And they said, what kind of cakes? And me, being Zoe, I said, I don't know, Zoe Cakes. And the name stuck. And I was so excited when I took my kids to camp, like a whole lot later, Sophie's first year at Seven Hills, they said, your mom used to work at camp, what was her name? And she said, oh, Zoe. And they said, like a Zoe cake. And I was so excited to find out that they were still making them. So here we are, Zoe cakes are still around. And now I'm going to show you how to make them in your kitchen. Now, because we can make them lots of different ways, you can use what you have. So my personal favorite way to make them is with like Bisquick or baking mix. It can be pancake mix. It can be the kind that you're supposed to just add water. It can be the kind that you add lots of ingredients. This is my first choice. You can also use cake mix. I know a lot of people like to use cake mix. I find that they're a little bit too sweet once you put all the fillings in them. And then for fillings, you can use whatever you have on hand, whatever you like. So if you've got some chocolate chips, if you've got some marshmallows, I have these really crazy chocolate stuffed marshmallows right now. If the Easter Bunny left you some peanut butter eggs, those are going to be fantastic inside your Zoe cakes. And I know a lot of us have lots of Girl Scout cookies in our house, so those make really good fillings too. So we're going to do a little bit of everything. So I'm going to use the baking mix because, like I said, that's my favorite way to do it. And I'm not really into measuring because this is not an exact science. This is something that usually when I'm making it, I'm kneeling on the ground next to a fire and I've got soot in my hair, and so it's definitely a casual kind of thing. So looks like I've got probably about a cup or so. We're just going to use what we have. And then you can use milk, You could use water. It really doesn't matter. Even if it's a cake mix where you normally add lots of different things, it pretty much doesn't matter. Use what you have on hand. If you have whole milk, if you have skim milk, if you don't have milk, I wouldn't recommend orange juice. That might be weird. But pretty much milk or water and it'll turn out okay. So we're going to add a little. And then my helpers are going to start stirring. So it looks like we might have gotten lucky and added just the right amount. Now with this, you're going to want it to be a really good plop consistency. So you want to be able to plop it into your pie iron, or in this case, we're not using pie irons. So it's going to be, here, let me see this. Let's see. I got to get my hands on it to feel. All right, so it's going to be thicker than a cake batter, but thinner than like a cookie dough. So you're looking for somewhere in that consistency. And again, it's not a super exact science. It'll pretty much work either way. So this looks good. All right, so see it kind of plops? That's what you're looking for. Now we've got a couple of different options on how we're gonna bake them. My kids couldn't believe when I got out the aluminum foil, because at camp, I always say not to cook them in aluminum foil. And that's because when you're making them in a campfire and you cook them in aluminum foil, what you usually end up with is burnt on the outside and raw on the inside. That is one of the reasons I don't put egg in here, because then there's a little bit more freedom with how much you bake them. So you can use foil. If you don't have foil, you can use a muffin tin. I'm going to do some both ways to show you how those turn out. So we're going to take some pieces of foil. Oh my goodness, and I almost forgot. Now, since we're cooking, you might have noticed that when we teleported to my kitchen, now our hair is tied back, and we of course washed our hands before we started this, which you want to do no matter any time you're cooking, but right now we're especially making sure that we're always washing our hands really good. How long do you wash your hands for?
2 minutes.
What could you sing while you're washing your hands?
ABC.
The ABCs or the happy birthday song. You want to make sure you're getting good and clean. Alright, so we've got our piece of foil, and we're going to have one per person. So you can use butter, you can use cooking spray. Again, Zoe Cakes are all about using what you have on hand, which is kind of awesome for right now, because I know it's kind of a weird time and we're not going to the store to get what we need. Alright, so I've sprayed our foil, and now I'm going to put a plop of our batter. Alright, now Lila, what do you want inside your Zoe cake? And it's a really big decision. Should we try one with a Reese's egg?
Yes.
So, with yesterday being Easter, if the Easter Bunny came to your house, you could cut up, your Easter Bunny that you got. If you want to break the ears off and put those in, just don't take your mom's Easter Bunny, because if you take the ears off of your mom's Easter Bunny, she's going to need those. Alright, so then we're going to put a little bit more on top. Alright, and now Lila, we're going to fold this up sort of like a foil taco. Alright, so you're going to fold one side over. Alright. And now bring this side up. Oh, don't smush too much. And then we're going to fold the ends. So if you're doing them in foil, you're going to put it in the oven just like this. So we have our oven at 350, and I made some earlier today so that, like a real cooking show, we could pull out the finished product. So you put that in the oven for about 15 minutes. It's kind of a guessing game when they're in foil because you don't get to see it. And now, oh my gosh, Lila, look, yours is baked. Do you want to open it up? Oh, this looks delicious. Oh, and look at all that melty goodness. Now, this one had a marshmallow inside and some chocolate. So it's all gooey and melty and delicious, and I highly recommend eating them while they're still warm. Now, they turn out pretty big when you make them in the foil like this, so I would recommend sharing it with a friend. So this is what you're going to end up with when it comes out in foil. Now, because we did it in the oven, it cooks really nicely and evenly in the foil, unlike in a fire where it's a lot more of a guessing game. We will eat it. All right, so now I'm going to show you if you're using a muffin pan, and I'm going to spray this over the sink. So we're going to get it all sprayed with our non-stick spray. If you want to get real fancy and use cupcake wrappers, you can do that too. It's up to you because this is all about doing what is going to work for you. All right, so now I'm going to put a blob in each of my muffin spots, cupcake spots, I don't know, what do you call those? In each of the wells. And I don't think I want to leave a little bit of our batter. So you're going to leave a little bit. If you need to, you can always mix some more. And then we're going to do all kinds of different toppings. So, Sophie, what do you want to put in yours?
A Thin Mint.
Thin mints. You can never go wrong with adding Thin Mints to anything. Now, with the Thin Mints, let me get this off of me. With the Thin Mints, I recommend cutting them in half because then it exposes the center, so it helps it get a little bit more melty and gooey. Otherwise, you still end up with sort of that hard texture. All right, so let's cut in half. And if you're cutting, this is definitely going to be something that you're going to have an adult help you with. So anytime we're using the stove, anytime we're using sharp knives, you want to have a grown-up help you with it. So it could be anyone in your house, mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle, maybe your older sister, but you want to have somebody there to help you. All right, so we're going to stick these in there. And let's also, another great filling are your caramel delights. And again, we're going to cut in half. Just push it down. Nice. Yeah. You could put one in each probably. Put one in there. Put one in there. Here, Lila, you want to do your other half of that Hershey or Reese's egg? Yep, put it right in there. And we've got one more, so we'll put one of these crazy, it's a marshmallow with chocolate inside. Oh, that's going to be a big one. All right, so now, because we see all the tops sticking out, we're going to put just a little bit more. And again, it's not a real exact amount. Some of them might ooze over a little bit. Some of them might be a little smaller. Part of that's going to depend on what you put in them. And then one of the side effects of making Zoe cakes is that as soon as these hit the oven, you're going to find that everybody in your house suddenly appears because they smell delicious and they want to get in on the Zoe cake action. All right, so we're going to cover all those toppings up. And then I'm going to put these in the oven. And we're going to put our foil one in the oven. And I already turned my oven, oh, I didn't already turn my oven on. So you're going to want your oven on. So about 350 degrees. And then watching the timer, I think it was about 15 minutes that I had them in there. But you're gonna watch it because you want them to look like this. So see those nice, getting a little golden on top, not burnt on the bottom. So you're gonna bake them till they're about like this. You can stick a toothpick in to make sure that they're done in the middle, but keeping in mind they're gonna have all of that gooey goodness. And then, when you're ready to eat them, now these ones are no longer warm. Oh, they're getting a little, I made these yesterday. Normally, it would be, so you'd have all that gooey goodness inside. Now, this was some Easter bunny that I stole from somebody's basket. So it gets all warm and gooey inside. Just be careful with those marshmallows because that filling is gonna be hot. So when you pull them out of the oven, this is what you're gonna have. Now, since we're gonna wait for these to bake, it's gonna be about 15 minutes. So for the next 15 minutes, I'm gonna play the ukulele while we wait for those to bake. Does that sound like a good idea, girls?
Okay.
We'll have a little sing-along? Just kidding, I'm not really good at playing the ukulele, and while I love singing camp songs, I don't think that today's the day for 15 minutes of me singing camp songs. Alright, did I forget anything? Let me look at my little list here. Alright, I think that was everything. So if you have questions about how to make a Zoe cake, feel free to put them in the comments and I will be answering them. If you have a question about anything else Girl Scout related, if you have questions about your cookies or anything like that, you can always email us at customer care. And we would love to hear from you, so feel free to do that if you have any questions about anything else. Now, if you're really missing camp like we are, and you can't wait to get there, and tasting Zoe Cakes isn't enough, then stay tuned for more details. But next week, I think it's next week, I don't even know what week it is anymore. On April 22nd, which is...
In 2 weeks.
What?
And Earth Day.
It's Earth Day. So on April 22nd, from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we're going to be having a virtual campfire where you can see lots of your favorite camp counselors, and we're going to sing songs, and it's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for more details on that, but if you're missing camp like we are, you'll be able to join us for that. Did we forget anything, girls?
Nope.
Alright, enjoy eating your Zoe Cakes, and I hope that you enjoyed watching this. Thanks for joining us here on Trefoil TV. And stay tuned, because all week we're going to have some fun camp stuff going on. I know Goofy's going to be on, and MB is going to be on, so you're going to get to see lots of your favorite camp faces. So thank you for joining us, and enjoy your Zoe Cakes.